Latest mock draft released this morning where he drafts as if he's the GM of each team. And a quarterback was not taken off the board in the first round, but the first and second pick of the second round. On that note, to get into all of this, we welcome Todd McShay. How we doing?
Doing well. Well,
You've had a busy morning already.
Yeah, he shook things up.
He certainly did. You guys had a little QT. So, yeah, just in this morning, as you're alluding to, Adam Schefter saying the Browns are not set, according to a league source telling him, on taking Myles Garrett with the first pick. They're also interested in, is it Mitch or Mitchell Trubisky at this point?
You're allowed to say either.
All right, we'll go either. What's your reaction to that?
My reaction is they're doing their due diligence, and it's the most important position probably in sports, certainly in the NFL. I'm sure there are some people within the organization that look at Trubisky and say, hey, we can develop him and make him a good starter. And I've said 100 times, his tape is better when projecting to the NFL than any of the other three quarterbacks we've talked about, including Deshaun Watson, Pat Mahomes, Deshaun Kaiser, just this past year. Now you only have the one season to go off of. That's what makes him a unique prospect. And you're comparing him to Myles Garrett, who, in my opinion, is an elite pass rusher, which is the second most important position, again, in my opinion, when you're talking about positional value behind quarterback. So it would surprise me if they wind up going Trubisky or any of the quarterbacks at one. I personally would wind up taking Myles Garrett at one, and then maybe if you like Trubisky that much, package some of those picks. They've got 2 second-round picks. They've got 2 first-round picks. They've got additional ammunition to go move up ahead of New York, number 5, if Trubisky was still to be there at that 5th spot.
I have a question, because I know why. You answered it just now. Why teams talk themselves into quarterbacks every year, even when there's not a first-round quarterback really in the draft? Because it's the most important position. Can you explain how they talk themselves into it? How do they talk themselves into inventing Jared Goff is worthy of mortgaging your future?
You know, almost without fail, I mean, look at every single Super Bowl team in the last decade. Almost without fail, they have a very good to elite quarterback as their starting quarterback. So you know as an organization, we've got to find a guy and develop him. And you know as a coaching staff, if I don't find that guy, I'm not going to last. You know, Hugh Jackson's sitting there, and he actually wants to take Myles Garrett, according to Adam Schefter. But Hugh Jackson's sitting there saying, if we don't get a quarterback in here soon, I'm going to be in year 3 with a rookie quarterback and trying to develop him. So that's kind of the struggle. But if you don't have a better grade, a significantly better grade on Mitch Trubisky than you had on Carson Wentz a year ago, this makes no sense to me. That's kind of what it boils down to for me.
You know, Todd, Myles Garrett was universally recognized as the consensus #1 overall pick in the NFL draft. I want to know what happened in the last few days to sort of compromise that solidified position per se, and if his recent actions in terms of not being able to take negativity, at least that's how it came across in the eyes of some, if that in any way had something to do with the fact that there's now questions as to whether or not he will end up being taken #1 overall.
I still think he is the #1 overall player in this draft. And not showing up to talk to Booger McFarland after he said some negative things to you, if it was a quarterback, it would resonate a little bit more with me. The only thing I can think of when I look at this picture is that Greg Williams, I don't know if there's a tougher defensive coordinator, a guy who uses more foul language and is in your face more than Greg Williams, the defensive coordinator of the Cleveland Browns. And if they, in their evaluation during their scouting process, came up with the conclusion that Myles Garrett can't handle tough coaching, then that could be something that would concern them. That they're all of a sudden they've got a defensive coordinator who excels at aggressive style and getting in players' faces and really getting the most out of them that way. If they don't think that that's going to work, then that makes a little bit of sense. But I don't think it's changed league-wide. I still think Myles Garrett is the clear-cut best football player and athlete in this draft.
To the specific criticism of him, why hasn't the production matched, according to the criticism, matched the talent?
The production's still really good. Now, the only thing that you look at is against a bad team, Middle Tennessee or whoever it was, he had 4.5 sacks this past year, which was almost as much as what he had against every other team. But when you watch on tape, I mean, he constantly doubled, constantly tripled. It was like Joey Bosa a year ago. Everyone was saying to me, well, Joey Bosa didn't run a fast 40, and he doesn't have great sack production. Well, if you study the tape, this guy's blowing up plays. He's taking on 2 and 3 defenders, and he's freeing up everybody else around him to go make the play and be successful. So I don't think he plays with quite the same tenacity and nastiness that Bosa played with. but I think he's a better athlete, and I know he's faster and more explosive.
He's also impressive in person, by the way, just as a person.
He was. He seemed very authentic, comfortable in his skin. I want to switch gears here, though, to the Cowboys. So Jerry Jones